Awesome.
Yes. I think we're live. I'm still you hit the go live button and then you fiddle with all the extras. That's how you do it in the Njoystic world. But
so assuming that we're live, how are you? Fucking welcome to our fucking show.
So, don't worry,
God damn it.
We'll wait for you to respond. Just take your time.
Video already fucked up, so that's usually a sign that we actually are live because everything falls apart.
It's funny too because I have to keep your Skype window actually like open. Otherwise, like I can't minimize it or anything. It just freezes, and I don't know what button I just hit, but it minimized every window. So it's like, oh, cool. So
yeah,
great.
That's the shutdown button. It's located on your desktop tower.
Yeah. So, yeah, welcome back. It's always so weird. We've been saying this every other week because we've been basically taking every other week off due to stuff. But it's like having last week off. It's kind of, and then we have to do it on a Tuesday this week instead of a Wednesday because more stuff. So yeah, I'm all discombobulated.
I am too, but it's not so bad. It gives me a lot of chance to play shit and have shit to talk about.
That's good. I'm a little disappointed that we couldn't work out a day last week to do the show because I was fresh off of like hating Megaman. I carried that over to the title.
You suck at it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I fully admit that that's the problem.
I don't care that, like, that's not going to carry a show, because you're going to be like, if I fucking kept dying to this, it's like, yeah, it's hard, dude. You have to get good, scrub.
Yeah, I abandoned, like, all the different attempts at the different games and went back to 2, because 2's the one, it's probably, from what I hear, the easiest out of them, or at least one of them. And it's the one that I've gotten the farthest of in the past. And
I've told me by how you were tweeting about
it. They're dumb games. What I hate is that they're so easy if you know the order and then use the right items that you get. I wouldn't say so easy, but that makes a world of difference.
What a bunch of bullshit that you have to learn a game to be good at.
Well, the part that's a bullshit is there's no way to know that order without somebody telling it to you.
Because there isn't a right order. It's like the thing you needed was an item, and like you hit a standstill on a level. But you did what I did in that Mega Man 7 stream, where you're just like, fuck it, I'm going to just do it this way. And it's like, I have my problems with Mega Man 7, but those like wily bosses that were giving me trouble because I insisted on Mega Bustering them, like that's completely on me. Like that's not a game problem.
Yeah, but I mean, the only way to... that's old school game design. Like there's no real tells other than just like fail until you've like keep doing different things that work.
Okay. And that would be fair if you went in completely fresh, but 1, you got to the Wily stages before. 2, me and another guy, I don't have his name off the top of my head, before you even started playing it, we both said,
right, but you should
do air first.
But you shouldn't have to go to Twitter and have people tell you who to do first. I should be able to just play.
Okay, yeah, and that would be maybe a fair argument. I'm saying for you specifically, 2 people told you do air first, and you ignored it completely.
The only thing, and it was more that by the time it was the Fire Guy stage, and whatever.
And to be fair, what was fucking you up was those invisible blocks, right?
Yeah. And I've done it. The last time I played the game and got past that part, I didn't use that, what is it, power number 1 or 2 or whatever.
Sure.
I didn't use that.
You learn the pattern, and that's...
But that takes patience, and by the time I got there this time, I had 0 patience left. That was the problem.
Yeah, all right. Well... like once again, it's like that area can be the reason we skip it is because we don't feel like learning that sequence, but anyone can learn those sequences. Like those invisible block puzzles aren't just like it would be bullshit if you hopped all the way to the end and then the last invisible block is just a giant wall and it's like and you have to fall.
What would be bullshit,
like
and I'm surprised they didn't
shit.
do this, is if they just randomly showed up. If there was no pattern to learn, it was just like pure luck. But
Yeah.
you know, and two, the thing I like about two is the stages themselves seem to be paced and like linked all right. Some of the later games, I feel like the stages go on way too long. But
Yeah.
and that's the other thing is I can cheat. It's funny that my stance is like, I'm not going to be like read what order to do these in, but I will use the shit out of the save state feature in the Legacy Collection. So it's like a weird,
all right, you know what? Fuck you. All your complaints about if you're using save states, all that shit's out the window. You have no excuse.
Because it's great. You get past any part in that game and you save it real quick, and it's like I don't know how I ever did this without those.
I'm not knocking you for it because, you know, like that's how I learned Mega Man 1 through completely legal emulation and using save state features on that. So, you know, I'm not knocking you, but you can't like say like these games are like bullshit and you're not even like taking like the actual setback of like losing to those invisible blocks. Like, that should have been like a 15-minute at most fucking, like, God, this is hard.
But see, that's the other thing, too, though, is I wasn't using save states. Like, I wasn't getting to, like, to the block point and saving there.
If you're using them, just use them.
I should, but I only seem to use them, like, right before the bosses. And then, of course, like, back at stage select, but that's not, that I don't view as cheating. That's just cutting out the having to jot down the 8 pages of, right.
Yeah,
right.
That's fair. Like, I like old password systems. Like, I like that they didn't like update the games to like kick that out because I want those games
intact. Nostalgic, right?
But I'm never gonna use them. Right. Like, there's no reason to. But
circle,
I like
triangle,
them.
Square, circle, triangle. Man, and they made them so. And I know why. It's because like each little symbol means something in their like behind the scenes save state. But man, that sucked back when you had to write those down. But two is a decent game. 7,
you're such a fucker.
7 was okay, but
just say that to me.
But then
like
I've like
2's decent. It's one of the fucking best platformers on the NES.
Yeah, because it's that or Mario, and then like every other platformer that the era sucked. We liked it at the time, and then you go back and look, and it's like this was shitty shovelware. Like.
You're the fucking worst troll ever. I knew it was gonna be like this today.
The SNES was the platformer era, but
yeah, fucking all those greats where you couldn't fucking tell where you were standing, so you tried to get your guy as close to the edge as possible, and then you fucking fell. All those great.
You're just describing Mega Man right there, though.
No, but, you always know where you are, like because Mega Man has such a fucking obvious hitbox and how much space he fills up. You're like,
but he slides, so then it's like, yeah, I know how much space. Oh, he moved over.
There's a little bit of momentum, but it's also one of the like tightest, like has the most control of any platformer out there. Like you want to see Slide play the first one.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I've also tried like 5 and 6 just out of like gross curiosity. I started on 9 because I thought that's where you said to start, but you didn't. And man, they get so much worse. 5, I think, was the one that I was trying to play, and I think you can turn it off in the Legacy Collection, but they wanted to keep it true to the lagginess and just sheer like shitty like performance of that game.
You can't really turn that off.
Yeah, it's and that was terrible.
It's how those games are. You know, and it's like if you want to, like you were knocking Mega Man 3. A little while back, and it's like I don't have a defense for that. Like I like Mega Man 3 because it was my first one, and
it demands it demands the typical like pattern, like intense pattern of like whatever, but you can't
figure out how to have the hardware match the enemy placements,
right?
And
there's so many you have to slide at the perfect spot to dodge this boulder, but there's 50-50 chance that you're gonna like lag at this point and not be able to input anything at all, sucker. Like
there was in defense, that is more of a hardware limitation than like a total knock on Mega Man. Like a ton of games from then had that problem.
Yeah. And it's just funny because they're all but unplayable. Obviously, you can because people have played them and gotten through the games, but that one was not enjoyable at all.
It's very enjoyable. You just have to get good
or drunk. I wonder if that would cancel it out, like because the delayed reactions you get, plus the delayed reaction of the hardware limitations, do they cancel out or multiply? Like common sense would say they would multiply, but maybe they cancel.
Maybe.
That might be a science experiment for some weekend when I've got nothing else to do.
Oh, I just know that they're the fucking best, and I'm glad that they hurt you.
Yeah. I don't know why I had to jump on board and buy both Legacy. Well, it's because they were bundled. It was cheaper that way. But I haven't gone back.
You should probably determine if you like one before you buy the whole set.
Well, but then if I like them, and then I go back to buy it, then I'm spending more money. So, I mean, it's damned if you do,
Not
damned
necessarily.
if you don't.
The way they have that bundle structured on Steam, you can buy one, and then you can buy the
rest of it, yeah.
And it'll save you, like, the difference.
I'll get my use out of these collections, but my use will be just bitching about the games.
Yeah.
I'm to the Wily Castle on 2, and I haven't played it since, not because it's like, fuck this game, but because I've been playing other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the other stuff I've been playing has been terrific, so no more of this, like, purposely playing shit Mega Man games.
You watch your fucking tongue, okay? It's so fucking good. It's some of the fucking best designed games of that era, and you're just a fool.
The part that I think will make you the maddest, and this is an honest opinion, but the music is driving me insane in those games.
Yeah, I imagine it's pretty maddening when it takes you a million years to get through a level.
It's more that if there's a way in it, I can't find it. There doesn't seem to be a way in the collection to like adjust the volume. And I don't want to just like turn my speakers down because I usually have other stuff. Like a lot of times when I'm playing Mega Man, I'm also watching TV, like streaming it over my computer.
Okay, you're not wrong about this. Like I do wish there was an audio setting in it. But just open the volume mixer on Windows. You can set the individual volume for the application without turning down your speakers.
That's way too much fucking work. Why should I have to do that when they could just put a volume slider in their game?
It's literally a right click and then a left click.
You're forgetting and this might just be my computer. It's always done this. It takes like 30 minutes to open the volume control. Like once it opens, then it'll like pop up and down all you want, but I don't know why.
See, you just live a weird life.
I do.
That is not conducive to great video games.
No. Well, yeah, it is because, like I said, the thing I'm playing right now is one of the best games I've played in a long time, and my setup works for it.
Yeah, but
it also wasn't made in like 1989, but
yeah.
I don't know. What are the years on?
Wouldn't it be better if it was?
What year was Mega Man 2 made? Do you remember? Just offhand.
I want to say 89 or 90.
That seems about right. Like because 92, you're starting to get into I think 92 is when SNES.
Oh, 88.
88. Well, yeah. Well, I'll give that credit for being the best one so far out of the Legacy collection that I've played. It's also one of the oldest ones.
Yeah,
I am getting annoyed.
I think if you can, you should get a refund because you're not going to get it.
I was screwing around in Mega Man 5 last night and just picked a random boss to start on, and it was... Now,
Mega Man 5 and 6 are some of the easiest games, not just in that series, but some of the easiest games I've played. So...
Yeah, and it seemed that way. Like my annoyance with it was that I got all the way through the one level I tried. Like I said, I was just screwing around in it. It starts you off on an elevator, for no reason whatsoever. Like you start off on a single screen where you get to the edge of the screen and it loads the next screen. And then you're on an elevator that starts moving up, and I'm thinking, okay, enemies are going to start dropping or something. They don't. You just get to the top, and then you move on to the next screen, and then you're finally like into a level. It was weird. Like, I don't know if it was a hardware thing, like we'll use this time to load the enemy.
I'm trying to think what you're talking about, what level that would be.
I want to say it was like whatever the wind guy was, but I can't. I have to Google the bosses to see. And the level itself...
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and the level itself seemed pretty easy until you get to that halfway point, and I imagine it was like the... Because after 2, it seems all the games have a halfway point in the stages where if you die, you don't start back at the beginning. You start... 2 might have even had that. I don't remember. But I get to a part where you climb a ladder, and there's just like really big guy that's hopping around, and he takes like 1,000,000 hits to kill. And common sense, anybody that's played the games and it's the same problem I had with Souls. It's like I could have easily run past him and got to the ladder and climbed it, but it's like this fucker needs to die. He also takes like half your health if he hits you. And so I died there and started all the way back at the beginning. I'm like, I don't feel like going through that again. But the level itself was pretty easy.
Oh, yeah, it was a Gyromance.
Yeah, that sounds
stage, and the reason it gives you that elevator is because it like introduces you to it, and like I'm not saying it's a great level really. I don't particularly like Mega Man 5, but
I wasn't saying
like it introduces the elevator because later there's one with obstacles.
Yeah. And I kind of assume it's something like that. Like I say, I wasn't saying that like a knock, although it just came across as weird to me.
I wasn't like defending it that way, but like it is kind of interesting to think about. Like it took them 5 games, and then they were like, "Oh shit, we're introducing an elevator. We gotta teach the player how this is gonna work."
The one knock I would say that I have is the one thing that you were complaining about, and it's not really a knock. It's not like this game shit. Like it is because it's Mega Man, but it has a lot of those enemies that take a lot of hits, like
charge shot
for no reason. Yeah,
you have to do that, and that's why I don't like 4, 5, and 6 that much. Is like all the enemies need the charge shot,
and it's just not a fun mechanic.
I really didn't like Mega Man 7. It's because you had to do it, and every enemy took multiple charge shots.
Yeah, and it's just not. It's if it was like one of those. And of course, this would have been designed way beyond its time, so this isn't a knock for them not doing it. And plus, I hate people that are like, "You should have done it the way that I imagine it. Otherwise, it's crap." But like in modern games, they do some of that stuff, but they at least make the mechanic fun. Where like to charge your shot instead of just like the slow hold your button and like run around and just jump over stuff. Like you'd have to do something like the parry or the counter, and when you do that, then it makes your and then at least it's more of an engaging mechanic, but like I said, that's not a hard knock. The control, at least in 5, seemed like I wasn't getting the stuttering I was getting in 3, and it seemed pretty responsive. Like you said, you can say like, well, Mega Man, when you jump, you know where you're going to jump and where you can land. And it's like, well, that's true in some of the games. 7, that was my annoyance with that, and you had mentioned it too with like the ladder shit. Like, it's just
7's completely different. I'm saying, like, in the NES style, like, you play through one Mega Man game, you know how he controls throughout the rest of them.
Stupidly.
Very well. Well done.
Until they start... and this was probably then beyond the NES style. Like, they start adding that, like, slide mechanic. And I don't necessarily hate that, but in the first few that it came across,
wasn't a bad idea. It just wasn't it's responsible for like 90% of like the technical issues,
right?
So it really sped Mega Man 3 up, but it like by trying to speed up the gameplay, it ended up slowing everything down just because the game couldn't handle it,
right?
And then once again, I'm not going to defend the technical problems with 3. 3 is a complete nostalgia thing for me. I will defend the rest of the series, though. Yeah, it controls fine. Get good.
But it gives me no desire to get good because it's just not fun. Like other games,
that's such a cop out. Like I don't even want to win. So why the game should make me want to win. You know, it's
Well, what I'm
if
saying
you don't
is
want to
like,
play Mega Man, no one can help you.
Yeah.
Like,
well, they could have made it more fun, so to make me want to play it.
it is fun. Like it's very fun, and I'm sorry you don't like fun.
Yeah, no, I fail to see that at all. It's repetitive. Well, not repetitive. It's not repetitive in the way I knock most games in repetitive. It's just, I don't know.
Like I feel like a lot of like your criticisms right now are variations of the same arguments I've heard against like the Souls games and stuff, which is just like, oh, it's hard, so it's repetitive. Like, not really. Like, you just have to think. Like, you have to think and execute, and then you'll win, and then you'll make progress, and then you get a new weapon, which helps you handle different sorts of obstacles or make earlier obstacles much easier.
At the end of a Souls area, though, you get to some like awesome boss that like gives you a insight into the world. At the end of a Mega Man level, you get some hoppy fucker that just
let's be real, all right? You and me both know that we don't get insight into the world after we beat the boss. We get insight
after we beat the boss and go to YouTube.
After we go to YouTube,
right? But I do that after I beat the boss.
Okay,
that's true, and that's true and untrue. You don't get the deep stuff without like really digging in, but the environments and even the bosses themselves, like you can see like what they are, like the Blood-Starved Beast. I think that's the right one. That's like the flayed, like, just whatever.
All right. Yeah, there's more lore and story in a Souls game than in the Mega Man games, obviously. Well, maybe not more, but
and the bosses do different things. Every Mega Man boss just hops around like a motherfucker and like shoots a pattern of shit at you. That's dumb.
Oh, well, from the sounds of it, you've probably fought a collective 4 bosses, so I don't know.
And the ones I've watched you play,
like they do different shit. That is the game, is learning how to defeat the bosses. Whether that's by experimenting with weapon weaknesses or just learning their patterns.
Weapon weaknesses, because some of the ones get to the point where you use the right weapon and it's like hit them twice and they're dead. That buzzsaw in 2 is like way overpowered. On the things it works on, it doesn't work on every boss, but like it seemed like it worked on about half of them though.
Yeah, I just think your arguments against Mega Man discount a lot of the satisfying appeal of something like a Souls game.
But then they don't use like logic too, where like the weakness of the fire guy is like never the water guy. Like none of it makes any. Their weaknesses never make any sense.
In Mega Man 2, it is the water guy.
Who was the one? I was trying to think like the leaf was his weakness, and it made. I thought fire guy was weak to leaf guys too, and it's like, why are leaves hurting fire?
No, fire guy's weak to bubble lead.
Bubble. I don't remember him being. Oh, of course I don't remember him being to that because I obviously beat him because I'm to Wily's castle. I don't know. And then I know,
the leaf guy. Airman is weak to the leaf guy.
Oh, yeah, that's the one that didn't make any sense to me. It's like, oh, the thing that is known throughout the world to blow the fuck out of leaves and like rip them out of trees is weak to leaves.
Sorry, but after like the first 3 bosses, not just in that game, but in the series, in Mega Man 1, they don't make any fucking sense.
But that's what I mean, though. Like I said, there's an order there's no order that you have to do them in, but there's an order that like gives you a huge advantage. But there's no like clues. It's not like you can sit and think like, that would make sense to do this one and then this one.
Because you're supposed to try shit. You're supposed to experiment. And once again, going back to your situation, not the situation of the fucking kid in 1988. Who didn't know how to play them, but your situation, you could look up the weaknesses whenever you want.
But I can't help but think of that poor kid in 1988 that could not do that. It's a game that was designed to make you call the Nintendo Power Line. Like,
yeah, absolutely. And it was designed to keep you fucking playing it forever. Like, because that's how you like. Yeah, that's how games worked.
Yeah, granted,
that's how all games worked.
Yeah, granted, because if you have the strategy now, like you can get through Mega Man 2 in like
exactly.
an
If
hour.
I just like beat it, if I got fucking Mega Man when I was a kid and I just beat it in 30 minutes, I would be pissed. I would never play games
Well,
again.
admitted at that age you wouldn't be, but it would.
No, I would have said like this is dumb baby shit. Everybody's weaknesses are all really obvious. You know.
I think every boss's weakness should just be your blaster. Like if you use the boss weapons that you unlock, they're like invulnerable to it, but your regular little shot takes off like a quarter of their health.
So you want it to just kind of play itself.
Yeah.
I feel you.
I've been having David
that with Hollow Knight.
I want David Cage's Mega Man, like David Cage presents Mega Man. What would it be? 2 souls, 1 blaster. I don't know.
Yeah. So you're wrong. That's
but now you're going to turn around and say all the same things I just criticized are true in Hollow Knight, but you don't like Hollow Knight. I get it.
No. I was saying Hollow Knight, I want it to kind of play itself is what I've learned. Because there are things, maybe I don't like Hollow Knight. I'm not sure right now because I got into it in a pretty big way this last week. So now I'm at I think I put like 9 hours into it the last week. The last like 5 days really. And I've kind of since I got it, I've kind of just sort of pecked away at it here and there, but never really fully committed to it.
Right.
And now I feel like I'm actually in a groove with that game where I feel like I can beat it. But it does some fucking annoying shit where it has that problem of challenge, like these really tough boss fights. And then when you die, you always have to start back from your save point. You have to go collect your soul's equivalent. It's not like your currency, but it's your your magic meter. It gets halved, and you have to go kill your shadow to refill that. And then that's usually right by where you die. But then you fight the boss again, and then you die again, and it repeats that. Which wouldn't be a bad thing if this game handled itself more like Metroid. It's already pretty fucking Metroidvania, but it would be better if when you fell into lava or you hit a spike in Metroid, it didn't kill you immediately. You could get out.
Mega Man does.
Yeah, Mega Man's not a fucking exploration platformer. Oh my God, you're the worst troll ever. So it would be better if you didn't die right away in those things, and you don't die here, but it knocks you all the way back to a checkpoint. So you have to do every platforming sequence perfectly to get back to where you were. And it just makes the whole process of dying and stuff that much more exhausting. Because it would be.
It's funny too because that's the exact kind of thing you could say, and a lot of people would be like you were saying with Mega Man. Although in your case, it's more applicable. Not in when you're saying it, I mean, but they'll be like, "Get good." It's a hard game, and it's yeah, but
that's not
it has
it's
to be
not killing me, So it's not teaching me patience. It's just sort of annoying me.
It feels like busy work. It doesn't feel like a punishment. It just feels like
Well, it's shit I just want to get back to that fight. But you put a million pits along the way. And it's not a pit, a left to right, do your platforming right thing. It's I'm trying to drop down a long column to get to the room I need to get into, go through 2 hallways, and get back to that boss fight. And when you're dropping down that column, there's just a bunch of these random ass hazards.
Yeah, lasers that shoot out at you.
All the way back to the very top of the column. And it's just, you don't die, but it's just fuck, just get me back there.
Right.
And that's what I mean. It's partially the game, it's partially my own impatience, where it's just I kind of want this game to just playing it. I don't really like when it's challenging me. because it's like it always feels like stupid shit where like the game looks really good, but the art style has led to a lot of confusing moments in fights for me where I was stuck on this one boss fight for a really long time. And it was like this weird little spore spider thing that would just like, it comes into the middle of the arena and it would like shoot like an entire, it would shoot like scattered shots. And then like it would shoot like one giant like wave on top of the side you were on. And I could not figure out like how the fuck do you avoid it? It's just a wall of shots. And the art style makes it seem like the enemy is too tall to jump over. Because you kind of like clip through him. Yeah. But you can jump over him.
Cool.
And
I love that when you're like, you're like, I'm going to touch it. And then usually when it's a boss, you're terrified. Like if you touch it, it's like instant death.
Right. Like I like the art style a lot, but it has that Rayman Origins and Legends problem of like, this art style is good until you need to be really fucking precise.
Yeah.
You know, because it has those same types of jumps as Rayman does, where it's like you're platforming on these like walls that are covered selectively in spikes, and you gotta wall jump off them and time your dashes and shit. And it's like your character doesn't move around with a lot of weight, and it's fucking rough.
It's like you almost have to. I've played games like that where you have to like ignore what you're seeing and just like react how you think the developer wants you to react there. Like, and that's one thing that in Rayman it's a little easier because a lot of their platforming is one thing I love about those games has like a rhythm to it. In fact, in Rayman Legends, they like specifically have points where your reaction is going along to the music. Like
Legends was much more improved, I think, in that aspect than Origins was. Like Origins was still, you know, like kind of rhythm based, but they also had some pretty sinister shit that they expected the player to do. And this kind of follows more of that than Legends, I guess.
But
but I mean, you know, it's weird. Like the map stuff is kind of infuriating. Like you don't build the map as you go. You have to always like find the guy in every area.
I hate a lot of games do that now, and it drives me nuts.
Well, the problem is like even with once you have the map, shit just doesn't stand out. It has that same 2D Dark Souls problem that I thought Salt and Sanctuary had. And by Dark Souls problem, I mean you didn't copy everything about Dark Souls that you should have.
You think you did, but you're copying like the
superficial. You're missing the most important point and the biggest reason why Dark Souls didn't need to give you a map, which is that every area is completely unique. And there's like
and that's not to say that there's
landmarks.
And that's not to say that there's not parts that are confusing, but they're intentionally. Like I remember the catacombs, I guess, or the sewers in the first Dark Souls. It's like, God, I've constantly had that tension of, I don't know where the fuck I am. I don't know if I can get back here, but that was intentional.
But that's a tense area. Like that's one area
and
determined to be tense.
And the kicker is once you've gone through it a few times and you feel like you're going to be lost forever, you realize, no, there's still things that you can use to get your bearings. Like, but,
and like these 2D games that have any sort of Dark Souls inspiration, like they just don't have, like there's some areas that it's like, okay, I know I'm in like kind of the forest area just because shit's green, but for the most part everything is like dark blue, and it's like either a dark blue cave or a dark blue castle. And it's just like...
That's one thing, and it's funny here because it didn't matter because of how they handled it, but I thought Ori in the Blind Forest did a really good job about making each area pretty visually unique. But then they would lock you off to the prior area, so it really didn't matter if you knew where you're at because you could only be in one spot.
I mean, to their credit, they fixed it in their definitive edition, but I'm not buying that game again just because you fixed something that should have been an update.
Especially since you already... It'd be one thing like...
if I saw that and never played it again.
Well, like Yooka-Laylee, where I played it and I'm like, this has some issues that could be addressed that would make it better, and I haven't finished the game. And then they've addressed them. It's like, now I do want to go back to it. I haven't yet because I've got other stuff to do. But like when you played through Ori and you already beat it and then they address it, it's like you really don't have a huge reason to go
and
back.
then to ask me for like $5 to like get the new. It's like fuck you, assholes. But yeah, but there is like I don't like that map aspect of it. You have to buy the map from the dude. And if you don't buy it from him the first time you see him, he fucking goes back to the beginning area of the game, and you have to go back there to buy a map for that area. So if you're short on money, he's just fucking gone. And even then, like the maps just could be better. The areas could stand out a little bit more. You know what? And turns out like that was the biggest part of why like I was struggling with Hollow Knight is like it's just really hard to get around in that game. For what that game is, which is like it's a game where you're dashing a lot and you're trying to, it's one of those, Metroid exploration platformers. So you're trying to, always take like the most optimal route, but it's just I'm getting lost all the fucking time, and it's not the rewarding lost where it's like, oh, I found a really cool upgrade in this like secret room. It's like, no, I went the whole fucking wrong way, and now there's like 4 giant worms that killed me, and now I have to go all the way back there to the wrong goddamn way and get my goddamn souls back, and then it's a bit of a clusterfuck. But I think I had a breakthrough where it's just like, I don't think the game did it very well, but I feel like I have an idea of the map in my head now, like just a little bit, like the rough areas of it. And I've kind of just turned off that part of my brain that wants to like see everything.
Yeah.
Which it really helps in this game. Like there's a ton of shit in this game. But it helps to just not care and to just sort of be like, well, that's an area of the map I haven't gone to yet. Let's see what's over there. So honestly, I couldn't tell you how close I am to beating the game because I don't know like what I've done so far that has been mandatory. Like it has kind of that Super Metroid thing where it's like you do 3 things and I assume that unlocks like the final boss. But I have no idea.
Yeah.
I did one of those things so far, so I just keep poking away at that. I think it's good enough to justify like the price it's at. I think it's like $15 or $20. Yeah. And if you get it on a sale, even better.
I was gonna say I think it was
just
like 12 when I picked it up because it had just released, but.
Yeah, so I think, for the amount of shit to do in it, it's a very good, like, kind of throw on a podcast and just,
Our podcast, preferably.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. After your fucking
that way we can
Megaman
hear us
speech.
Yeah, talk shit about the game that you're playing while you're playing it. It makes the experience better.
Right. I think its praise got a little bit overblown.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's somebody in my timeline, and I can't remember who, but I think they still had that like, oh, that's my favorite game of the year so far. And I'm like, really?
And that's crazy. That's absolutely
given
insane.
like what's come
Go
out this
play
year.
Super
Yeah,
Metroid, and that'll be your fucking game of the year for 100 years if that's true.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anything so broken about it that it's like I can't sit here and say it's a bad game. I just wish it handled a lot of like it has good ideas, but I wish it handled a lot of them better. But it has a good tone, like it has a good art style. It's just it doesn't all fit nicely together, but it's still an interesting game. It's not breaking anyone's bank, so I could still recommend it. I did want to mention, I'll let you talk about, I know what you want to talk about. So, but I did want to mention Beholder is like $4 on Steam right now. So
yeah,
that game's worth $4.
It was interesting because I noticed somebody last night. I know her Twitter handle's Glassbottom Meg, so that's the name of her. She's an indie dev, but she had mentioned something about like noticing that it had like 4,000 Steam reviews, and for a game like that, I was like, that seems weird. For a second, I thought it's like something fishy's going on here. Like I like the game. It's not like the greatest. Like it's not.
It's just an interesting little. I haven't beaten it. I'm not going to. But
no, it's like I love the idea of the game. I love the feel. The presentation is awesome. That intro like is one of the best intros I've ever seen from an indie game. Just in terms of like its design and the animation and just the feel. but it's just not that fun to play. Like it's interesting,
Right.
but it's just not. But
It's kind of the game I want to like play around with a little bit, but then I want to watch somebody who knows what they're doing.
right, that's the other thing is
Like,
I suck at it. Like usually about the earliest point you can fail is when I was failing. So
right.
but it was one of those games that when you failed it, I never felt like, oh, I should have done this. I was like, what the fuck should I have done differently? Like but anyway, but it's neat, and yeah, $4 makes it worth it, and that explains why it. And she could poke around because I think she was kind of feeling the same way I was. So it's like that's a little suspicious. Like, did they buy it? And then it was in one of the indie. It got itself into like the indie Humble Bundle 18 or something like that. So it got some attention that way too. But yeah,
it's just you brought up sales, and like I just remembered like that game is pretty neat. So.
Yeah.
So if anybody is interested in kind of a weird game, you could do a lot worse. But yeah, I'll let you take it from here with your fucking favorite game ever about.
Yeah. So
lunatics.
Gamescom was last week, and we got to learn more information on the next Madden game.
Nice.
And I've just been, Hellblade's what I've been playing.
Does Tom Brady throw the football?
Only if you tap X to inflate the ball more.
It's a microtransaction you have to pay for quarterback play.
Yeah. Hellblade, I picked that up a little while ago, and I've been getting more and more into it, and it's one of those games that the more I play it, the like better it is. It is just so freaking cool. You've heard a lot of people talk, because it got a lot of attention. It's one of those games that like, when they announced it, I want to say a year or two ago at like PAX or something, they showed a trailer and they thought, well, that looks kind of cool, but every trailer should look kind of cool. That's a point. Yeah. And it didn't tell you much. It's just like, here's this Viking looking chick with a sword and like trudging through the underworld fighting stuff. And you're like, okay, cool. Like,
yeah,
it gave a Souls vibe, but just kind of because of the visuals and stuff and the melee combat and whatnot. And then really that's about all I knew about the damn game until about a month or two before release. They're like, oh, by the way, it's a $30 game. And you're like, oh, like that should be good news, but now I'm worried. Like, why is it a $30 game?
Yeah, what did you cut out?
Right. Yeah. And then the game comes out and everybody's like, it's kind of like plays on themes of mental illness. And it's easy to hear that. If you're like me and you, I'm going to throw you in this group because I feel we've talked about it before, but where like all of a sudden games a couple years ago had to be like some big social issue.
We're gonna talk about an issue,
right? And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but it was easy to get burned out. So then when a game that you knew nothing about, they're like, it's about mental illness. It's like, oh, okay, I didn't expect that. Yeah. It is so fucking cool. And as somebody that never really, like, I don't have anybody in my family that suffered, well, arguably they all do, but
I have years worth of shows that show that somebody very close
to me. Yeah. But no, none of us, like, I've never like had, suicide in my family or like just bipolar, like real deep mental, like issues that I've dealt with personally or like very close. So it's not like it's a near and dear, it's something that, I think all of us should be concerned about, but it's nothing that personally like speaks to me. No. But the way that they portray it is just really cool. From even like if you throw all that out and you don't take it as some like big lesson on mental health, the presentation is freaking amazing and it's so like psychotic and well done. I don't know if you've watched any like stream of it.
I don't want to watch.
Yeah, don't.
Like,
if you haven't,
spoil that game for myself.
Right. I would suggest really that. I was curious if you had, but if you haven't, don't. Yeah, play the game and experience. And it says right on the game, play it with headphones. We recommend that. I recommend that too, because what they do a lot of stuff audio, like through the audio of the game to convey what's going on. And this isn't really a spoiler, but like there's constantly like all these voices like whispering in your head. But when they do it and they mess with like the stereo, like it'll be over here and over there, and they'll be saying different things. One of the cool things that they do with that is there's no, like they throw you into the game, and the first time an enemy comes along, which surprised me, it was pretty well into the game. It's not a combat heavy game, like it gave the impression. But an enemy comes along, and it's not like, press X to dodge now. And it doesn't say that fucking anywhere. It's literally up to you to just hit buttons on your damn controller to figure it out. And if you've played like Souls types games, it kind of controls like more probably for you better because it's a Ninja Theory game and It's more the Devil May Cry-ish heavy attack, light attack, dodge, parry. It's less Souls-like, except for it's more weighty than the Devil May Cry that I played. But it doesn't tell you anything. It leaves it up to you to figure it out. But as far as the level, the game is really more about environmental puzzles and telling a story. And sometimes you'll kind of get clues, but they won't be like, oh, well, you should go over here and do that, like through the voices. Like they'll be like mocking you and that kind of stuff. But if you pay attention to what they're saying, if you're stuck, you can kind of get an idea. The bosses are really fun because they've all got the combat. I love the combat. The combat feels so good. And when I have it set on like an adaptive difficulty, which I keep meaning to like look into like this, I know what that means, obviously, but I don't know how they do it because when that's the only way you've played, I don't know how that compares to putting it on, say, easy. But the combat, there's a setting and it defaults to it where the combat kind of adjusts itself based on your performance. And it's hard enough combat that when you succeed, you're like pumped up. You're like, fuck yeah. But it's not so hard that it's impossible. And it's a pretty basic system. Most enemies, it's like, okay, blocks and dodges, heavy attacks, and they'll introduce a few little things along the way. But each of the bosses also have their own kind of gimmicks is the wrong word because gimmicks is a word I use when I don't like it. But they all have their own approaches, and they've all been really cool so far. And the story gets really good. The environments are really good. The presentation, they do a mixture, like as you'll talk to different spirits and stuff, but some of it's kind of overlaid, but it's actual it took me a second to figure out, but this actual video, like full motion video actors that they used, but as like a semi-transparent overlay, it doesn't stand out as like jarring within the CG, game world. And it's just so cool. And for $30, I know the reason it's not a full price game is I know the average playtime is like 5 to 6 hours, so it's not a super long game. In fairness, so was Rise Son of Rome, and that was $60, and this game is way the hell better than that game was.
Yeah, that's let's give Ninja Theory some credit. They did not make Rise.
No. What I'm saying is that like a lot of people, I think if they released it at $60 and we're like, it's a 6 hour or 4, I mean, you could. The time it takes depends a lot on how long it takes you to figure out some of these puzzles, but it's just not an overtly long game.
Yeah.
But shit, the experience that you get in the short, I haven't beat it yet. I'm like 5 hours in, but I feel like I'm getting closer to the end.
I think like structurally, it's one of the more interesting kind of like I don't know. I forgot how they're like classifying it as like a non AAA, but like still big budget. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how they're phrasing it, or it might be the reverse of that or something.
It's 2.5 A's.
Yeah, it's like, but to like have it to like basically go indie and like, but you're still doing like a focused like action puzzle journey, and like doing it with like these like amazing visuals and like these unique ideas, and like all of its presentation with the stuff with like the voices coming out of different speakers and whatnot. Like that's a really cool thing, and like in kind of a scene that's very like platformer heavy, or it's like a first person sort of narrative scene. Like that tends to be what we see the most out of indie projects. So to see something that's like, no, this is
we're going to tell a story. We have a story. We're going to tell
it. Not. Well, it's like we're not abandoning what we like to make. Like that studio is like, they know they're good at a certain thing, and it's like we're going to do it in a more focused and in a little more cheaper way, but not in like cheap in the sense that we're like knocking anything back or cutting anything out. We're just we're scaling down our usual sort of like spectacle action games. So,
and I think that works too, because it's the kind of game the whole time I got in my, because I avoided reading any spoilers. Didn't watch anything, because you really, if you can avoid that, do it. Unless you're absolutely sure you're never going to play it, because it's a game you really need to experience for yourself.
Well, after recent events today, it's at the top of my Steam wish list. So, but I think it looks really cool. I don't have the money right now or the time, really. I've been playing so much shit. Yeah. But, it is, like, I think that game looks really neat. And
it is so good. And I would put it up there with there's been a lot of good games that come out this year and a lot of good AAA games. It's up there with any of them. And then the fact that, like you said, that turns it from when I initially heard out of nowhere, I think it surprised all of us that they're like, oh yeah, that's a $30 game. You're like, oh crap. That's usually a statement on quality. No, that's a hell of a bargain, because I think you could have easily, I could have paid $60 for it, and unless it shits itself at the end. I always add that caveat because I have not finished it yet. And you hate to get super high on a game. You're like, this is on it, and then like the last part is just like
mental health issues, and it just ends with her like crapping into her hand and throwing it, like,
and then ordering a Big Mac at McDonald's.
Just the most fucking completely insulting depiction of mental illness.
Right. So I mean, and I'm fairly confident it doesn't do that, because other people are very high on this game as well, and I haven't been hearing that like, oh fuck this in it. But of course I've also, like I said, I've not been specifically seeking stuff out. But based on my experience with it, and like you said, the other thing is this is actually like the least impressive thing, which is saying a lot. But visually, it's stunning. I cannot play the game without capturing like a dozen screenshots per time, and of course I keep posting them on Twitter. So it's a beautiful game, but really the biggest impressiveness in the design is not the visuals, even though they're great. It's the storytelling. I like to put it storytelling because it's not even specifically the story itself, which is good, but it's the way that they present it, with some of the audio stuff and the visual stuff, and just you got to play it. I mean, anybody that hasn't played it, when you get the chance, I suggest it. The other thing I said on Twitter about it, I've been playing it on PC, and I've got my headphones when I play on PC, but my computer's in the living room. And ever since I started playing it, my wife, she barely pays attention to what I'm playing. She's not that interested in video games, but she saw it and she keeps asking about it. She's like, that looks kind of cool. What's that game about? And A, it's hard to describe, and B, it's hard to describe without ruining the story, because at this point, I'm planning on, when I finish it on PC, I'll probably buy it on PlayStation 4 so that I can play it on the TV and she can watch, because it's something that I think is worth experiencing. And so I hate to say stuff about it, and then when she goes to watch it not be special.
Yeah. You should just trap her in her room and say the only way out is to play through it. Just do some jigsaw shit. You're married. She won't press charges, I don't think. That's how marriage works, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that game looks really cool. I played a lot of shit, actually. I'm trying to catalog it all in the last week. Friday, I just played through the entirety of Devil May Cry 3.
Oh yeah, I saw.
Completely just the most random, because the day before I reinstalled XCOM 2, and I was like, I'm going to give that a shot again. And I did the intro mission or whatever, went to bed. Next day it's fuck that, let's play a really great game. And so I just did. It was one of those days I didn't even plan on it. It was just sort of well, I have I have a long weekend. I could probably, if I put in 3 hours, if I every day I do 6 missions or so, I should be done with it by the time I have to go back to work. And then that just went out the fucking window, and it was just, I'm going to play through all of this. And I realized the PS3 controller is the worst controller for long sets of gaming.
Or short sets. I hated the DS3, but
it's bad. So I played that. I started playing Path of Exile.
Really?
Which is I don't know. It really seems like a game you've probably talked about while I ignored you on here.
It is. It's like a game that a couple games I've talked about, but I have not played that one. But
it's free to play, and I don't know if that's a new change now.
No, I don't think it launched that way, but it's been free to play for a long time.
Yeah. So they have the only microtransactions they have are really crazy to me, like really bad, like crazy, where it's like $30 to get like a glow effect on your character or some
Cool.
shit. Like that stuff's really messed up. But the game itself is basically Diablo 2. Yeah, and it, like, it plays the same. It's kind of interesting. Like it has a good presentation. I've only really scraped the surface of it. But it's I think it's pretty neat. I don't know how long I'll play it, but I was talking to my brother. It's like I'm kind of at a point now where I just sort of that completionist aspect of my habits are kind of going away, and I'm kind of okay just like playing a game like Path of Exile until I'm just done
with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to my world.
Now I get it.
Yeah.
Turns out you can enjoy a lot more things if you don't like care
or just play more shit that you hate, but you get more of it. So
yeah, maybe. So that game's pretty like that. I for free to play, I think people should check it out. Like it's not a half-assed product at all. PUBG. Last night, me and my brother won.
Well, really?
Yes.
Did you actually kill people, or did you just like you were dicking around and they just all died?
Funny story. I had gotten at least one kill every other game before that. This was the ultimate experience in coattail riding, / being used as bait, depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
So we got down to we were in the top 20, top 15 maybe, and it's getting to that point where the zone is getting really small, and me and my brother get into a car. And I'm driving, and I'm trying to not go the obvious way, like a panic dash for it, but I'm trying to like loop around the area so I can like come up from behind because I don't want to fucking die immediately. Well, I still die immediately. We get out of the car in the zone, and I start leading the way, and I see a guy starts shooting at me from behind a rock. Like I'm trying to go up, get higher ground. There's already someone waiting there. And I assumed... And we start a gunfight, and if my fucking brother, had decided not to stop and take painkillers while I charged ahead, or at least tell me that he was going to take some painkillers, we might have won that fight as a team. Instead, I got fucking clipped, and then I told my brother I've never seen him play this good at any game ever.
Are you sure they were painkillers in, or was it like the blue pill from the Matrix? Like
we're sending it to USADA for testing. We will get to the bottom of this. No one just changes like that overnight, because I'm not like joking. He could barely work a fucking gun last night, like in every other mission before. Like me and him are not like good at the game, but we were kind of generally improving. But my brother's sort of the one where like if anything starts happening, he overthinks it. So it's like, you know how you would like do military call outs, like hey, we got a guy at our 6 o'clock, check our 6. He's the type of guy to be 6:23. Like that's how he is. And he just started fucking popping off fools. Like he got like 5 kills to win the match. And he like it was insane. It was the most exciting.
And you weren't even part of it. You were just
Well, I mean, I was spectating. I was giving call outs to like people when they were on his radar. Yeah. But you know what? Fuck it. On my record, I have a win now.
Right.
So
how was the chicken dinner? Was it like cooked pretty well, or?
It was definitely a winner.
Yeah.
I would like to get an actual one someday, but that's a really, even like as a team, like even when you get dropped like that, it's such a fucking cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah.
Like, because there was such a panic. Like at the very end, there's like 5 guys left. My brother's laying down in a field, just a brush field. Like there's no cover, but because everybody else is laying down too, nobody can see each other through the brush. And like the final guy, like they're just sort of shooting at each other blindly. And then like you just kind of make out like, oh shit, he's down, he's crawling, take him out. You know, like you finish him, you know, and it's such a cool, like that game for moments like that, that is really.
It seems like a game that like it's the little bit I've played is fun, but it sounds like it really, really benefits from playing with other people too. Like as a team, I mean,
some people say it's better solo. To me, it's a lot more stressful solo. Like me and my brother have a lot of fun when we're playing. Like just when shit goes wrong, it's not as serious. Like feeling in the moment.
Yeah.
Where just like, you know, the world's caving in on you. Like when you're with other people, it's like, oh fuck, where are you? Dead. Yeah. I'm dead. Yeah. Like
I'd be the one you'd be like, there's a guy coming up on my 6. Let's go. And then you get gunned down, you'd be like, where were you? I'm like, I found a shirt I wanted to try on. Like, I didn't like it, though. I had to switch back.
You know, me and my brother have, you know, a lot of misadventures in co-op gaming where, like, we were playing New Super Mario Bros. And, like, if you ever played that game, you can, like, hit a button on your controller and you'll immediately, like, go into a bubble.
Yeah.
And if everyone bubbles, you lose. But as long as one player's alive, you're okay. And this was like we were being chased by something and trying to get like the star coin, and like my brother would have been fine, and we would have been fine if he had gone into a fucking bubble, and like we were just being chased, and like he was just determined to do it through all skill, and I was just like, "Fucker, bubble." You know. And it was like just moments like that, or it's like 2 grown men genuinely arguing with each other. Like, why didn't you bubble? You know.
That's the magic of co-op gaming, though.
Yeah. So yeah, PUBG is like, if you can get, you know, a little group together, a ton of fun. Last thing I want to talk about, Destiny 2. Because I just played this before we did the show.
See, I need to download that because the open beta for PC started today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I downloaded that and I played the intro. That game feels really fucking good on a PC. Like Destiny felt good I played it on PS4. I have no idea how far I got in it in relation to the actual game because I got like the edition that had like all the DLC and stuff, so I was kind of skipping around. So I was kind of like playing Destiny 2 more just out of like, well, it's free. I should try the beta since it's here.
Right.
And I was kind of curious how my computer would handle it.
That's why I want to check it out. But
it played pretty damn well.
I heard it runs really smooth on PC. And then, of course, the controls, since it's a shooter, always benefit from keyboard and mouse. But
yeah, and this shit feels really smooth. I was impressed. Like, I only did that intro, but the enemies felt a lot smarter. Like, I mean, they're fodder. You know, it's still a Diablo type shooter where just, you know, you're supposed to take down hordes. You know, really
the part you
quickly.
don't understand is they took all the Blizzard employees and they killed them and put their like. Yeah, like they're actually AI, like whatever, and you're killing off the employees, but
real people,
right?
Yeah, but they, you know, they just seemed like more aggressive general enemies, which made it a little more fun. I played as a warlock, which is not like reading the descriptions does not seem like I went hunter in Destiny 1. Right. So I was just like, yeah, fuck it. I'm just playing this beta. I'm probably not going to like it. So I'll do something completely out of my zone. Dude, warlocks are badass. Like their special power is like they charge up and they pull out a sword and the sword shoots energy waves. And that's like way fucking cooler than the hunter's thing.
The hunter can throw a knife though.
Yeah, whoopity shit.
Are they the same 3 classes in 2? Hunter, Titan,
I think
and
so.
Warlock.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's the same. Um, but yeah, like that played great. Like the actual story. Um, unfortunately, it's Destiny. I know it's gonna fuck up, but like the intro where you meet like the big bad guy is like that's a really powerful opening to a game. And instead, like, I know they're going to do something stupid where it's like, well, download the app to get the lore. And it's like, just tell a fucking story, please. But it plays great. It kind of fell on my radar now.
I
Like,
when as soon as they announced it was going to be available on PC, it had my attention because I kind of wanted to play the first, and I did play a little bit, but I played the 360 version,
right.
and only I rented it. I think I had it for like a week or two. So I didn't play it a ton. I didn't hate it, but I didn't have anybody else that was playing it on 360. And again, that's a game that really benefits from playing with people.
That's the thing. Like, I wanted to, like, there's a mission you can do after the intro. That's like a co-op, and it'll do matchmaking for you. But I actually wanted to see if you were going to download it, and then we could try that mission. Because I don't know if the matchmaking will work or not, but. I thought that would be an interesting take because that's kind of the one barrier is like Destiny 1 was okay, but I had no one to play it with.
Right.
If I could like get, you and like maybe get my brother into it, I don't know if he'll care. After PUBG, he might retire. But if I could just like have like reliable people like, oh, they're playing best Destiny. Let's see if we can do a quick little mission or two, or God forbid we do a raid or something. Right. They'll like that seems like it could be really fun, and I was really impressed with it. Like just the general feel of that game, which is all you can really go on with a beta, is like it showed a lot of promise. The downside is the fucking PC version doesn't come out until October 24th.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like the regular version I think comes out like 2 really weeks soon.
Yeah. Or a week or two. September, I want to say like 14th.
September 6th.
Damn, even closer.
Yeah.
Stupid PC getting delayed really. That's what I was going to say. The only other thing that I have, and I haven't played it yet because I could just download it today, was Sonic Mania because that just finally hit for PC. I didn't realize that the PC version of Destiny was coming out later.
Yeah, I forgot because I assumed I wasn't going to play Destiny 2. But now I'm kind of like, I think, I might pick it up because I really enjoyed myself.
It needs cross-buy. You can buy it on PlayStation 4, and then when the PC version hits, just transfer to that.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, they're using BattleNet. It should just be all tied to that. But yeah, if you can check out the beta, even if you don't think you can run it, like I'm not running a real beefcake over here, and it handled the game just fine. So
yeah, and
I didn't have max settings, but it looked good.
People were talking about it, and that's literally I didn't realize that the beta was opening today. It's just today I happened to think about it. I was like, I should Google Destiny 2 PC beta, and it's like open beta starts today. It's like, sweet. But that's 100% why, because it's one of those games that even if I couldn't play the beta and like get an idea about the game itself, I'd probably buy it if I knew it was going to run. But that's the part that I want to check and make sure that I can play it.
Yeah.
Well, and especially since it's like, oh, if I run it on PC and it's too choppy, I'll buy it for PlayStation. Except for that, that even more hinders your.
Yeah. Well, I was in that awkward like I went to the system requirements lab site, and I was in that awkward like, well, you reach the minimum, but that leaves a lot of room.
Well,
for
and the problem is some games it's like the minimum means it runs perfectly fine. You just don't have the like glow effect on your gun. Then other games, it's like the minimum means you'll get 2 frames a second, but technically it runs. It's like, okay.
Right. The Dishonored 2 minimum was bullshit. This minimum seems actually pretty good. Like, I'll give them this. Like, the delay is kind of fucked, but it does seem like they're not half-assing this PC version at all.
Well, and that's one thing that I heard today, like you said, is that it runs really well on PC, and from a it doesn't need as much of a system as you might think standpoint.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Because the longer I can put off, having to do like a meaningful upgrade, the better.
Yes.
Because I know that's coming sooner than I want. So when new games come out and it's like, oh, I could still play those, awesome.
That's part of what my PlayStation 4 is. It's a way to stave that off because I just like ping pong back and forth between. I'm a PC gamer now. I'm a console gamer. Crap. No.
Yeah, I'm too. I'm just too spoiled now by having everything right by my right on my computer now. Yeah. It's like I'm wanting to rebuy games on my PS4 just so I have them on Steam. I've become that guy.
Yeah, no, that happens. Like I said, Hellblade will probably be one for me.
Like, hey, I'm that snob who's like, I want everything to be on PC, and I'm bitching about de novo on Twitter.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I don't mind to feel. I like having the big TV and the PS4 controller. But I have more opportunity from a time standpoint to play PC games because I can do that while my wife is watching TV.
Yeah.
So there's advantages to both. But anyway, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I thought like I said, I thought about it today and Googled it. And it's like, cool, I can download it when I get home, but I completely forgot. So that'll be what I do as soon as the show's done, is I'll start that download.
Yeah, it's a pretty hefty download, but
I won't have time tonight to play anyway because we're going out after the show. But
yeah, it's I think people should check it out. There's always got to be that kind of asterisk by Destiny, because we heard this same shit about the first game during the betas and stuff. Like, oh man, this game's gonna be fucking great, and then it came out and a lot of those same people were like, what the fuck happened?
It's weird how that, because I always think back to the last big beta that I played and got real excited about was The Division. And then the game comes, because I'm sure you remember me talking about it. I remember doing the shows after playing the Dark Zone stuff, the PvP, and going, this is a really awesome idea, and it's really cool in beta. And once it fully launches, the potential this could be great. And then the game comes out and it sucked. And then I'm kind of hearing the same stuff. I had talked a little bit, maybe not on the show because at the time it was under NDA, but played the Absolver beta. And,
oh yeah, that's how now.
Yeah. And the beta, I was having issues with connectivity. It's all online, and I only got connected to the server 2 or 3 times, so I didn't get to play a lot of it. But what I did get to play, had me really excited because it felt like a kind of a Dark Souls style everything. And people get so oh, everything's Souls, but it had a Souls feel. That's the easiest way I can describe it to the melee combat. But it had more the journey aesthetic and the journey thing about drop in, drop out, multiplayer. You can come across other players, and they. And then it had a
cool thing about that game. Sorry to interrupt, but on GOG, if you buy it, you get a copy of Fury for free. Huh. Which they're doing till September 12th, I think.
So you got a little while on it. It's not a forever thing, but it's a.
Yeah, well, they were doing it throughout the time to pre-order it, and they're keeping it going for another couple weeks. Fury is a fucking awesome game. So then Absolver seems to have some. What I've heard so far is it's got a lot of technical problems right now, kind of out the gate, which is kind of to be expected.
But even the game itself, a lot of the critics I've seen a few people that have been oh, this is really cool. For the most part, the people that I've seen talking about it are this game's just not very good. It's got some good ideas, but the game itself that it's wrapped in is just not good. And that, so
most of the people I've seen have been it's all right.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows? If it's a game you're already interested in, that's just, I just bring that up because it's you might as well buy it there. Get another fucking cool game for free.
Random, but my wife's got MSNBC on TV. I hate Trump so much. Just looked up and they showed his dumbass face on top of a car in Texas waving a Texas flag around, but it's all about him. Yeah. But anyway, I don't want to we try to avoid politics on our show.
Yeah, just because it's exhausting, not usually because we argue.
No, we tend to relatively agree. I know we've got a little difference on some things, but we're about the same bent.
Generally, when we do off-air, when we talk about politics, it's with the same sort of exhausted, this is the dumbest fucking shit going on.
Right.
But you brought up Sonic Mania, and I don't know. Have you had a chance to play that yet? Or?
No, I just Of course, with my internet being my fucking internet, like I get to work today. I forgot about it this morning when I woke up, and I get to work. And I'm like, sweet, I can go on my Steam app on my phone and tell it to install because it wouldn't let you preload. And now it's out, and I go on, and there's like no install button. And I'm like, I bet my fucking computer disconnect. And I did. I get home, and it's like internet connections are available. It's like, then fucking connect,
awesome.
assholes.
So I was ranting about it today. They have an always online DRM for a 2D Sonic game.
Really? So with my internet, I'll be in the middle of playing it, and my internet will drop out, and it'll be like, ha.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's de novo. And a lot of people are saying, like, I don't think there's any way to confirm this, but a lot of people are saying, like, the 2 weeks they delayed the PC version was just to add this.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And I am just, like, I am baffled, like, to the point where I'm, like, completely soured on playing this game that I was totally
I don't like
with, like, a day ago.
I don't like hearing that, and it depends on how it's implemented, but if it is one of the... Because some online DRM...
If you go into Steam offline, if Steam disconnects, you can't play that game.
Well, but a lot of games are like that, but once you launched it, as long as you were connected, it'll still play. Because that happens to me a lot when I'm playing the Mega Man Legacy Collection. It's like in that for the 20 minutes I can stand being in it. When I get back out, it's like, oh, my internet's disconnected.
Yeah.
So if that kicks you out while you're in it,
It might not do that. I don't know how de novo works, but I think it's crazy to me that a game I bought, a 2D Sonic game, it's not PUBG or some shit where you naturally need an internet connection anyway to get anything out of it. That is the silliest fucking thing. Yeah. Like, if you wanted to point out like a huge absurdity of 2017, it would be that, hey, a new good Sonic game came out, but you have to always be online.
Right, because
we didn't want anyone to crack it,
which is
they're
crap
going
because
to do in a day.
That's the exact kind of game that if I was sitting here and our internet went out, I'd be like, I could play some Sonic Mania for a while. But no, apparently I can't.
Right. It's fucking tailor-made for those moments.
Right. Which is funny because there was a indie game that came out last week, and they did that thing, which I don't necessarily agree with, but it's their choice, where they're like, our game's out, it's available on Steam, and you can buy it now, but here's a link to the torrent, to a safe torrent, because if you can't afford it, we'd still like you to be able to play it. Just if you download it from the torrent and you like it, please sometime give us some money. And I'm like, my problem
I kind of respect that.
I respect it, but I think the problem is it's normalizing torrents, and that there's a lot of people, we've talked about it. Well, but I mean, from a perspective of people like my brother and my in-laws that don't follow stuff like we do, they're very, very casual with internet and games. And then they see that stuff and they're like, well, it must be legal to download games from this site because, there they are. They wouldn't be there if it wasn't legal. And it sounds stupid, but there's people like that. But I guess you could argue they're already doing that too.
Right. I
can't remember what indie game that was too. It was one that looked kind of cool. It's that overhead horror game.
It's
Darkwood or something.
Yeah, something like that.
It looks interesting, but
it looks cool. I don't. Darkwood. I don't have it in me to steal games. Like. Like torrents and stuff like that, I think it's a real scummy thing to do. But like I was talking about this shit with Sonic, and just like all the ways like an always online DRM is a bad idea. Like I'm not even outright against like developers and publishers covering their tracks and trying to protect their game. It's that moment where it becomes a pain in the ass for the people who actually supported you.
But doesn't stop the people that are stealing it at all.
Yeah. So it's this psychotic, because like you can look on like discussion boards now where it's like, well, like people are genuinely asking on like the Steam boards for this game, like, well, what's so bad about de novo if it protects their game? And then like these like people who fucking they made it their life. It's just their culture to just steal these fucking games. They're in the discussion thread like, de novo's garbage. We'll have it fucking broken in a day.
Yeah.
like we're taking it anyway, you know.
But now I can't play it if I lose my internet connection. But if you download it illegally anyway, right, you can't. And so really, in practice, what you're doing is you're giving a better featured version to the ones that steal it than you are the ones that pay for it.
Right. So once again, you're aiding piracy because you've actually given the pirates a better product than the one you are selling. So like it's just this bullshit fucking arms race they're trying to do that you're never going to win.
Mind-boggling to me because my opinion has always been the best combat for pirate. You're never going to get around. You're never going to keep nobody from stealing. Like there's no way to like make it unstealable. But the best combat for piracy is to make your game affordable, but not, that doesn't mean cheap, but price it fairly. Like Sonic Mania is $60. That's not well priced, but Sonic Mania is priced in a bracket that I think is fair, and make it easy to easily accessible. We talked about that with music. There's a million, a lot of people use iTunes. I use Amazon Music. I used to pirate all my music in the late 90s, early 2000s because you couldn't get it any other way other than
convenient ways to
get it and manage your library. So they made it a convenient, easy thing. And now with Amazon Prime, I still don't have to pay for most of my music because a lot of it's available for free. But not technically free, but you know what I mean.
Right.
And that's the thing. That's what mind-boggling about this with Sonic Mania is you've got a great platform to make it accessible to a lot of people. It's a decent price. I think you've already done what you're going to be able to do to fight.
It's Sonic fans. I was telling my brother, like, it's fucking Sonic fans. They gave you money for Sonic 06. Like, you got them.
Right.
Like, the people who are going to steal it are the people who are never going to pay you anyway.
Right.
Like, you have the most psychotically loyal fan base. You fucked them a million ways to Sunday. You finally release a game they like, and you add this shit to it.
And like you said, if there was no negative repercussion to this stuff to the people that buy it, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, then I don't give a shit.
But when it makes it less convenient for me, and like I said, that's why I'm not up in arms. I'm not flipping my desk and like going over to Steam right now to refund my purchases. For me, not being able to play it offline probably won't be a huge issue. It could be, but it probably won't. But there are a lot of people that don't have all constant access to internet.
Yeah, and just, like I said, like internet is not some fucking like stable goddamn thing. It is almost like the whims of nature.
Just wait until all this like net neutrality shit hits, and then you can't stay connected 24/7 because it'll cost you $1 million a month. Like
like some bullshit like that. But so I was talking about it on Twitter, like it's this arms race. You're never going to win. And kind of more interesting, and we also talked about like how just your policy should never fuck over the people who legitimately bought your game.
Right.
But the other thing I thought was interesting is how this model, this always online model, directly feeds into like this Robin Hood kind of complex that a lot of game pirates already have. Like they're just trying to justify not paying for shit. But
a lot of them do view themselves as the good guys. They're the heroes.
But now it's like, they feel like, oh, well, fuck Denuvo. I'll crack it tonight, so they already, like, you're helping their narrative because, like we talked about, you're giving them a better product to put out into the world than the one you're selling. And there's also the fact that, like, this Denuvo shit, is really shady. Like it's particularly, it's already, you're in the world of DRMs, but this one already, there's a lot of rumors that it like
scans your hard drive.
The things it does to your in the background just fucks your shit up. And like, even if only like a little bit of that is true, like that's still not necessary. It's still nothing I would ever want to put my computer through just because some fucking idiot at Sega didn't want their $20 Sonic game to get downloaded on a torrent that was inevitably going to happen anyway. And then there's also the fact that like you're doing everything through these fucking Denuvo servers, and how long are those going to be up? So say like what, like that shit goes away in 3 years. How do you play Sonic Mania? Like, you know, you don't know what's going to happen with that shit. You know, because and now you don't own the game. You own access to the game through de novo. It's just a fucking horrible system. And, you know, if I had pre-ordered it, I wouldn't be refunding it either. I'd probably let it go. But I'm not kidding when I'm saying, like, that really fucking killed my interest in the game.
I'm getting
because it was just like,
yeah. It's not helping. I just Googled de novo because I don't know anything about it really, and the results that pop up are hilarious. The big one that is talking about, other than Sonic, is obviously among the top since it just released. But
right.
Rime, I guess, used it, and I guess when Rime came out, the makers issued a challenge to crack their DRM, and they had it in 3 days. It was
you know, I said, like, you know, a week if we're being generous.
That's right.
But it's like it's gonna happen.
And then, you know, the other thing with Rime is once they cracked it, it supposedly the game runs better without the DRM. So, like, the DRM is actively hurting game performance. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, it's one of those things where, like, you see the Sonic Mania reviews on Steam, and all the negative ones are like, fuck this, fuck de novo, you know, like, and especially because the Steam page doesn't tell you.
Yeah, that's the part that I don't like.
That it's there. Like, that's really fucked up. You have to tell customers that you have to always be on.
I kind of imagine that this is one of those things that once it installs, even when you're not playing the game, it's probably always running some process on your computer. And that shit pisses me off because that's why our computers, you know,
get fucked up.
Yeah, 4 years down the road, they're running slow as shit because and you can't.
It's been running the same background process for 4 years.
Right. And yeah, like, if you really want to dig in and get to know Windows and what you're doing, you can manage that stuff. But we shouldn't have to as consumers. I shouldn't have to sit and spend a whole day trying to figure out, like,
if I bought your game, I should be the last person to feel the effects of any, like, counter piracy stuff. Mm-hmm. It's completely anti-consumer. It's completely dicking over your customers. You know, it's a really disgusting.
It's like saying you go to a movie and then they run a strobe light the whole time to fuck over anybody that might be trying to videotape it. It's like, yeah, but you're still like, I paid for this ticket, and now
we're gonna cut this down to half speed because we don't want anybody to, like, steal the legit full speed version. And yeah, it's just a fucking horrible system. And, you know, I'm not saying that I'll never buy Sonic Mania, but I'm kind of already thinking, like, well into the future, like, oh, maybe I'll pick that up, you know, when I get a Switch one day or something. And I'm like, I was going to buy it this week. Like, I was going to wait until I got paid, but, you know, I was looking forward to it. And now I'm just like, fuck them. It's a Sonic game I'll live without.
It's probably what I should do, is refund it on Steam and buy it on PlayStation, but
maybe. I don't know. You'll probably be fine.
Yeah.
It's a bad precedent.
Speaking of things releasing today, this is random and changing the topic completely, but I was just thinking, because I've been in the mood recently. I'm like, you know, I could go for a Yakuza game. I get in those moods, and I know you just played 6 recent. No, you were playing like 3 or 4. I thought you were playing.
I haven't played one in a while.
Oh, I thought you were, but. I was like, I don't even know, like, what ones are, like, what's the current, like, if I was going to play one on PlayStation 4, what one should I play? And I guess Yakuza 0, Yakuza 6, and Yakuza, just effective today, Kiwami, I'm probably saying that wrong.
Yeah.
Have all come out this year for PlayStation 4, and it's like, and I know those are those Japanese games where it's weird because it's like, oh, when I say they came out this year, I think all of them have been out for years in Japan. Zero's, I think, actually technically the newest of all those. But it didn't help any when I'm like, okay, I'll Google, what's the new... Oh, okay. So I probably won't play them because I just have too much going on, and those games are freaking massive. But,
yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've had... Zero just sort of sitting on my, like, get around to list, which has just become massive at this point, that I just know there's just going to be so many games this year where it's like, oh yeah, that I never played it.
And from what I understand, this Kiwami or whatever, however you say it, is really a remake of the first Yakuza. Yeah. But like it's more than just like it's a literal remake of the game. Like they've added stuff, they've completely redone, like not just upscaled the visuals, but like they made
it a modern Yakuza game, and they're gonna do it with 2, I think.
Yeah.
I think they'd probably be stretching it to do. They'll probably do like a re-release of like 4. 4 and 5. I don't know what. I don't remember when 3 came out.
3 is the only one I've really played much of, and I haven't finished it, and I liked it. That's the one that made me fall in love with it. I played a little bit of 4. I don't know, but I'm in the mood for a Yakuza game. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking that because I know you recently, like relatively recently, played Sleeping Dogs.
Yeah, we talked about Yakuza while I was playing Sleeping Dogs on Twitter, and I pointed out how the karaoke was better in Yakuza.
I know you didn't love Sleeping Dogs. I like Sleeping Dogs, but I do like Yakuza better. But
I didn't play enough of Sleeping Dogs to really make a judgment. I
thought you played through it.
Oh, no. It might still say on Steam how much I actually played. I played 2 hours.
Oh. Yeah, that's nowhere near all the way through it.
No, I just, I was that was at a time where I was just kind of like,
you were like
picking away at random shit on my Steam list.
Yeah, I think you seemed a little burned out on gaming in general at that particular point.
Yeah, that was like after finishing Dark Souls.
I thought that was after you finished Neo.
I finished, I finished Neo, and then that was, that jumped into like Horizon and
I still need to play that too.
Man. Horizon and Zelda, and then I think maybe I went back to Neo, or I want to say I beat Neo before I got to those. And then after that, that's when the Dark Souls DLC came out, and then after that I was kind of like, oh man, Dark Souls is over, video games are dead. And then
we're like a month away from the Tokyo Game Show, where they're gonna definitely announce Bloodborne 2.
I don't know. And that will be another one of those like, fucking goddamn it, I need it.
It would be like great and heartbreaking because they announced it. You'd feel good because it's like, okay, they are making it, but it would be like coming in 2021, and you'd be like, son of a bitch.
Right. I have to live that long? Fuck.
Right.
Other thing is, there's another sale I wanted to mention because you like this game a lot. And I haven't played it yet. Little Nightmares is $12.
Yes, I like that game a lot.
So maybe that will be where my Sonic Mania money goes. Sega.
DRM this, and then bastards. You find out that has it as well.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's like half the games on my list probably use it, and I just never paid attention. But
maybe, but don't publicize it.
Yeah. Don't
let me know.
Well, in fairness, Sega didn't publicize it. It was gamers that quickly figured it out and were like, fuck you, Sega. But
it's funny to go back into like the discussion threads. Is like before it came out, it was like, do you think they're out in DRM? Nah, no way. They wouldn't be that stupid. It was like, holy shit, they did.
Yeah,
so Sega, fucking moron of the goddamn millennium.
Corporate. I'm just trying to
even when they do like the right thing, they make a fucking good Sega fucking Sonic game, they just shit themselves constantly. They can't not do it.
Well, it's just these traditionally console companies, even though Sega's put out games on PC for a while.
That's just it, though. They put out Bayonetta. It didn't have that shit.
Yeah. And everybody stole it, jerks. If you're listening and you pirated Bayonetta, you fucked up Sonic. It's your fault.
No, it was a huge success. Yeah. Maybe Vanquish didn't do so hot.
But there's a reason for that.
But it was Vanquish, yeah.
Right. I get so confused with these things because I remember when Vanquish came out, or is still at least relatively current, most people are like, this game kind of sucks. And then you'd have a few people that are like, I liked it. And then like 5 years later, people are like, Vanquish was so cool, we should be able to play it. And then they trick developers. Developers are like, sweet, easy to get 1 hour game again. And they put it out and everybody's like, oh wait, yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, oh yeah, this is Vanquish, yeah. Well, I mean, it was kind of that weird like lost sort of platinum shooter. Whereas, like, I think it came out at a time where a lot of people were like, I didn't give that a real fair shot.
And then they play it again. They're like, oh yeah, this is why I didn't give it a real fair shot.
it's kind of fucking boring. Yeah.
And the other thing that we tend to do, because from what I understand, is it's a game that was pretty important in getting like the whole cover shooter thing as a genre. Like, it was one of the first ones to really go for that. And it's like, that's great, but that doesn't make the game good. Like, we do that a lot where it's like, oh, this was the first game that really got this genre on the map. It's like, yeah, but what you're really saying is it was rough because they're just exploring these concepts, and I don't want to say perfected, but we've built off of them for years. Yeah. So
I don't know. I'm looking at the Steam page for it now. Maybe it was better received than I thought. It seems like a lot of people are.
Well, the people that played it, that wanted it, I think enjoyed it. It's just, it's not one of those things that I think. I guess what I should say is I don't think it did a lot to get people that didn't play it originally to play it again. It just got the people that already like, because it always had a cult following.
Yeah, I have it on my wish list. It's just not very high up. It's one of those games where I like. It'll have to be on probably a pretty crazy sell for me to pick it up. But I probably shouldn't. I probably shouldn't judge it if I haven't actually tried it. But I remember the reception was very lukewarm at the time. There was another thing I wanted to ask you about because you played it. I haven't installed, but I haven't tried it yet. The Danganronpa demo.
Yes, I can't. I just call it Danganronpa. It's just a bunch of D's and A's and G's, whatever it is.
Which is, our language too.
It's presentation-wise, it was really cool. Like, it's just slick, like playing an anime. It's a visual novel, basically, type game, which is not my category of games. And that was, I just checked out the demo last night, and it kind of one of those where it's like, I really should go to bed, but what the fuck, I'll fire this up for a little bit. And it was neat. It's the kind of game that I couldn't see myself buying, but not because it was bad. It's just not my thing. Yeah. But that aside, like the visuals, the just vibe, the atmosphere of it's really cool.
Yeah.
I imagine it's kind of, I don't know. I've never played an Ace Attorney game, so I don't know what the gameplay is like. But it seems kind of like that. Like you have to walk around and you're kind of limited. It's almost point and click adventure-y, but like slightly different presentation of the point and click. But there's like, and I think this has been the storyline for all the games. This is like 6, I think. But basically you like wake up in this weird like school that this weird like nightmarish looking teddy bear thing is the headmaster of, and then you find out like the whole thing is you're trapped there for eternity unless you kill somebody. But then when you kill somebody, the whole class like investigates it, and if they catch the killer, I don't know what happens to the killer, but if they don't catch you, or if you don't catch the killer gets to leave. So that's like basically your only way out is to kill somebody and get away with it. So from a gameplay standpoint, you're investigating these murders and trying to figure them out. And like I say, it's an interesting, like very anime story.
Anime as fuck.
Yeah.
Well, it's named. It might as well be fucking anime.
I guess
B3.
A better way to describe it, from what I've just out of my personal experiences, the things I've played, is it's like the Persona gameplay minus the dungeons. You don't get that like action RPG, like dungeon combat.
As someone who's like stopped playing Persona 4 because he was stressed out about dungeons, that actually sounds pretty fucking great.
Yeah, I mean, I could see. I wouldn't be shocked if it's something that you'd play and you'd enjoy. I'd check out the demo. You said you downloaded it. Check it out,
yeah.
Of course. And I don't want to say that's like something you would enjoy. Like,
well, no, I mean, it's true. I played the Phoenix Wright games and stuff, so.
Well, and I could maybe. To me, this is the kind of game, and this is where they come from exactly. I think I'd like it a lot better on a handheld console because it's the kind of thing that, like, if I was sitting somewhere bored, I'd enjoy more. But it's neat, and I know there's a lot of people that really like the series.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
I don't
I've
think
always known about it, but it always seemed like one of those games.
I never
that,
knew
like,
what it was. I've known it was there, like as aware of it as a thing.
Right. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
I kind of want to say that the demo is not going to be available forever. I think it's kind of a limited. Now, I don't know if it's once you downloaded it, if you can play it forever or not, but I kind of got, I don't remember where I saw that, but I think I saw something where it's like, you can get the demo now, but kind of gave me the impression that it's not always going to be there. So I would check it out if you're interested. I mean, it's the exact kind of game where you're like, this thing's fucking weird. It's a very Japanese game. If you're not sure about it, try it while it's free.
Yeah.
That's the point of a demo.
I'll probably play it tonight, so. Anywho, that can be our show.
Yeah.
I am dying of heat here.
It is warm here, too. I had to shut off our air conditioner. We have a window unit, and the other night we were sitting and watching TV, and all of a sudden our entire house smelled like pot because our neighbors were smoking it, but the air conditioning unit was just like sucking it into the house.
So we're actually at a crisp 100 degrees. I don't know if you can see that on my phone. So.
Oh, nice. What did you do to your phone?
Nothing. Oh. It's a Raphael Ninja Turtle.
Oh, in the video it looked like cracked as shit, but that's just the background.
Yeah.
But
it almost, I thought I cracked it. I dropped it today on fucking concrete because I'm a.
Raphael could take it though. He fought it off. Yeah. He's like, "Get back, fucking concrete! I got size."
He's a turtle with two. Do you think concrete's gonna stop him?
But
anyway, yeah, we're done.
We're done. Done.
Get the hell out of here. Bye.
Bye. Goodbye. Stop streaming.